What you waiting for? It's time. Time for love. It's time. Time for the sun and sand. It's time. Time for fun. It's time. It's time. It's time to let your hair down. Come on. Come on. Come on. To have no fear. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. It's time. What you waiting for? It's time. 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 What you waiting for?
Welcome to another edition of the Merv Britto Show. Over the last year, we've had some incredible conversations on this show. We've spoken about the good, the bad, and quite frankly, some of the downright bizarre things happening here in Goa, across India, and around the world. We've never shied away from difficult conversations. Some of the topics we've covered have been controversial, some have been uncomfortable, and some have challenged the way we think. But our philosophy has always been simple. If it's something affects people's lives, it's worth talking about. We've also had the privilege of sitting down with some fascinating guests from all walks of life, listening to their stories, their successes, their struggles, and their perspectives. Every single day, thousands of us drive through Panjim. We enjoy its cafes, admire its heritage, complain about the traffic, talk about the roads, discuss development and the casinos, worry about the flooding, debate tourism, question government decisions, and wonder why some things seem to take forever to change. But very few of us actually understand what it's like to run Goa's capital city. What does the mayor really do? What decisions can he make? What challenges are within his control and what aren't? Today, we're hoping to answer some of those questions in our candid conversation with the Mayor of Panjim. This isn't meant to be a political debate. It certainly isn't publicity. It's simply an open, honest, and candid conversation with someone entrusted with leading our capital city. Whether you agree with him or disagree with him, the important thing is to listen, to understand, and to have respectful conversation. So today we're going to talk about Panjim, about Goa, about technology, about transparency, about the future, and of course about the man behind the office. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the Mayor of Panjim, Mr. Rohit Monserrate. Well, thank you. Thanks for being here.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me.
Now you're the big cheese, the big dog, you're busy, and I do appreciate the fact that you're taking the time to be on the show. Listen, this is an episode, this is a show that I've been wanting to do for a long time because there is so much happening. There's a lot of things happening in Panjim that I wanted to make people aware of and more people to get to know you. For the people that do know Rohit Monserrate, this segment is basically about him, his background, how he ended up being where he is today. Rohit, I know you for a while. I've known you for a while, but I want to ask you some questions basically to have people understand your background, how you got into this. Tell me a little bit about your background, your childhood, family. I'm going to ask you some questions for the people that don't know.
Sure.
You've been in Panjim all your life. You
Basically.
come from a Pan.
So I went studied in Shada Mandir till about the 9th standard. Was in boarding school, came back to Goa, college in Goa. Regular college life, regular childhood.
Good student?
Yeah, pretty much.
Studied hard?
Decent, yeah, pretty.
Um, your childhood, you said it was in Panjim. You've grown up in a family that has been in politics for a while. Is there any specific things that stand out for you that made you want to say, you know what, I want to get into politics?
Honestly, when I was younger, right, I never really had the intention of getting into politics. We were always exposed. It's let's say, for example, even though we were a political family, my parents never got us involved in politics. So it was always like a lot of people knew more about politics than we did technically. Right? We were always shielded from that side. But dad didn't want us getting involved, mom didn't want us getting involved. So as we got older, as we matured, as we started getting into business and everything like that, my dad thought it was a good time for me to actually get involved. So that was the time I actually started taking in an interest in politics. Right? So still up to that point, it was basically just a newbie. And a lot of people knew a lot more than I did.
We were talking about makeup and the good-looking cat that he is. They spend about 5 hours of makeup on me and about 5 minutes on you. It's not fair. Who's better looking, mom or dad? Where do you get your good looks from? I'm putting you on the spot. Look into the camera.
Wow.
Listen, it is an absolute pleasure. You married, kids,
Yeah, 2 kids.
2 kids.
Mhm.
You've been married one.
10 years now. Kids are
10
like, kids are like 6.5, almost 7.
What do you do? You've got a busy schedule as the mayor. Do you get time to exercise? What is some fun stuff that you do to unwind?
Unwind.
What does Rohit do for fun? The mayor, what does he do for fun?
Honestly, I don't really have the time. Like my schedule starts at what, 6 in the morning. I'm up. One thing I make it a point to do, like, I'm always going to bubbly to the cross, right? Go for mass. That's the first thing I do in the morning. Work starts around like say 8:30 till about 10. Just meeting people, getting the thing. By the time I'm back home, it's around 8:30. So I barely get time, honestly, for anything. Like I have to steal time away just to get some time to myself. Even then, it's almost like basically impossible, right?
It blew me away. I've read your bio. You had a chance at one point in time. You climbed Mount Kilimanjaro.
Yes.
How did that come about? What was that all about?
So a friend of mine was turning 40 and she had asked a bunch of her friends if they would join her. They all turned her down and it was her birthday. So it's always been her dream to climb it before 40. So I was like, okay, fine. If you need the company, I'll join you and everything. So practiced for like a little bit. It was a lovely experience. Beautiful the people. Africa's amazing. The people are lovely. The nicest people. The views are amazing. Like if I want peace, if you ask me what I do if I want peace, like if I want peace, I will rush to the mountains. Like the peace that you get there is like close to none. Nothing can compete.
Time to think, get away. But what's the hardest thing which you had to do to be able to get to the peak?
The hardest part is actually, let's say the first day is extremely hard because it's all uphill, it's raining, it's loose soil, we're used to the climate and everything. Right? That the first day is extremely hard. The last day is the worst because you wake up at around like say 11 in the night, right? That's when you start. You start at 11, you're climbing somewhere around 5,000 meters, right? It's around 18,000 feet.
Wow.
When you spend about 8 or 10 hours just to get to a point, just to get to the, like say, to the summit, right? The summit isn't exactly as you get to the top of the mountain. You need to trek for another 2.5 hours before you actually get to the point. Then there's a mixture of rain, there's like hail, there's snow, it's cold, a lot of people are being airlifted off the mountain. It's an like amazing experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing experience.
But if that doesn't toughen you up, that is the experience with no amount of practice and training will this thing you.
Dude, I lost like 10% body fat just from like the one climb. Because it's 15 hours of trekking like every single day. So you burn like 1,500 calories like a day. It's insane.
I mean, these are challenges that you faced, and that prepares you for the rest of your life, something that you hadn't planned on doing. You've accomplished, you've done well. Listen, I asked you about politics, your family background. In life, there's always going to be challenges. If you didn't get into politics, what is something you would get into? What would you be doing right now?
But the reason I like politics actually, like I hate the politics side of politics. Like it's generally you have to deal with a lot of issues that aren't generally issues that you create yourself, right? A lot of people have different natures. If you succeed, generally somebody else tends to fail, right? So nobody wants that to happen. So what I've discovered is I love helping people, right? So right now, if I were given a choice, even after politics, like say, to me, it doesn't make a difference, honestly, very simple. If I win or lose, right? It's gotten to a point now where I know I just want to help people. So whether it's in politics or outside of politics, I just want to help people. Right? I know, like, see, my children are autistic. Like, I have two autistic boys. And there's a lot that needs to be done for the community in particular, right? There's a lot of people that need help. So I want to be able to help. So I'll probably get into like social work or start an NGO or something like that.
If not the mayor, you'd be into social work.
Yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned you got two children, both boys.
Yes, identical.
I have to mention the fact that I love the initiative, and I'm going to get more into details. We're going to get into the meat of this. But as the mayor in your office, you talk about building a cleaner Panjim, empowering the youth, listening to the community, supporting children and young learners, champion inclusivity. One of my favorites, caring for senior citizens, bringing communities together, learning from people who inspire. I love the fact, and we've mentioned on our show many times about a new change. Yes, you want to be involved, you want to help people. You are a different generation of politicians. You're a younger generation that can embrace, understand the problems we've had in the past. And in order to help people, with times changing, technology changes, you want to have all these initiatives to be able to make Panjim a better place, success,
for the community in Panjim. Right now, these mayors all around the world are in massively spotlight positions. Andy Burnham, mayor of Manchester. Yeah, Zoran Mamdani from New York. All of these guys have been political figures and they've won in these massive cosmopolitan cities. Here in Panjim, there are so many things that need to be done. What is one of the biggest things that people misconstrue about your job as mayor?
It most definitely has to be the powers of a mayor. Like, I'll give you an example, right? Now, we attend these mayor summits, right, all throughout India. So, if you look at, like, I would just give you an example of, say, the mayor of Maharashtra. Now, the Maharashtra, the BMC is one of the most powerful organizations in India, right? So, they look at everything from your licensing to, like, say, everything but the police, water supply, your fuel generation, everything, right, is looked after the BMC. So, Panjim is not the case. Like the Panjim, the role of the mayor, if you look at just what the role of the mayor is, right? We basically handle licensing and solid waste management. We ensure the city is clean. And if you want to start a business, it's our job to make it happen. We get a lot of requests that are just not related to the corporation at all. If I would just look at my role as a mayor itself, right? If somebody notices something wrong with like the power lines, I will get a call. If somebody notices something wrong with the water supply, I'll get a call. If there are issues with name any department, right, I'll still get a call.
Infrastructure.
No, just anything, absolutely anything at all. The thing is that people think that the mayor position is basically a catch-all for absolutely anything. If you have a problem, you go to the mayor, right? One, I guess, is accessibility. People just assume that the corporation role is the same as any other corporation where everything comes under you, but actually it's not the case. So, like, say when I joined, right, I don't want to be in a position where I can say no to somebody. If somebody comes to me for help, doesn't matter what the department is. I should know somebody in the department, or I should know somebody who knows somebody in the department, right? So the first couple of years, that's all I did. All I did was just meet directors, meet IS officers, meet lower level officers, meet everybody. Just so that I know that if somebody ever would get in touch with me, I'm just one phone call away, for getting the help that they require. Right? But the biggest misconception is that this corporation handles everything, which is not the case.
You keep mentioning corporation. What does the CCP, the acronym CCP, stand for?
Corporation or City of Panjim.
And that is under the mayor's realm?
See, even then also, right? If you look at the corporation itself, the functions of the corporation are handled by the administration, so by the commissioner. What we do is basically suppose now the commissioner, suppose the municipality says this is our framework for the next year also, right? I want to spend 10 years, like say 5 crores on developing public spaces, 6 crores on the market, 5 crores on whatever it is, right? It's our job basically through the council to basically pass the budget. It is the commissioner's job to implement it. So that is a huge misconception that people have to the mayors in charge of the act, right? It's a very different story actually.
We've been snooping around into your social media, and you've got a very action-packed schedule. So you mentioned you start your Monday. You've got a public grievance meetings every Monday. Why Monday, by the way?
Just coming off the weekend, you're generally a lot more fresher. Monday is the day we can just plan the rest of the week. Right? If we start on a Wednesday, already 2 days away from the weekend, nobody's really got a thing. Be ready for it. So the idea is we have 2 meetings generally, right? So the first meeting is on a Monday. That's generally where we meet people. People come with their grievances. That's when I'm in the office, at least now, throughout. The second thing I do on a Monday is basically we have an internal meeting with all the departments. So I have a list. If I show you my notebook, I have a list about 60 things that I'm working on currently, right? So 60 things mean, like, I'll say, for example, the Santanis Creek is one thing. Below that, I will have 15 other things to do, right? So those are just headers. So the thing is that, see, I feel like now I have a purpose, right? So I know what my purpose is. So, like, say I travel a lot. I was in Tokyo last year. I was in London last year. I've seen how those cities function, right? And the pride that people take in those cities, right? So Panjim has lost its sense of identity, I would say. Not only Panjim, but I say Goa is suffering from like an identity crisis, right? So everything that I do is basically geared towards creating that community and creating a sense that, all is not lost. There's a lot that we can do. It's not only the government's responsibility to get it done, which is why I keep looking out for partners also.
You've got a deputy mayor,
Yes.
and you've got a whole. There are different, what do they call it? 30 or
Councillors.
33 odd councillors
Yeah.
that manage different areas of Panjim.
Yes.
They all report to
To us.
the mayor's office.
Yes. They don't report to us exactly, but Yeah, you can say that.
They handle their own little districts, right?
So
Their own
then
areas.
they come to us.
And then they come collectively.
Yes.
That forms the CCP, right? And I have to say I love that for the simple fact that you're accessible. If somebody wants to meet you, they can meet you. They set an appointment at your office. People can come and meet you. People come and have complaints all the time, and you're sorting out problems all the time, right? You've got a deputy mayor.
Yeah.
Do a lot of these issues actually get sorted out? Follow-ups with these people in their own communities?
Yeah. So basically, if like I'll give you an example. Like if now somebody comes to me with a particular request, right?
Yeah, for the most common complaint.
Like say a lot of people come to us for like say weeding machine or the trees that need to get cut or whatever. So it's basically as simple as basically telling my main supervisor so and so needs to get done, and then him just doing it, right? So why have the review meetings is also at least once a week I can look at think about like say my job is right. Say for example I handle tasks that are huge and I handle tasks that are very small. So if I'm in the office all the time, I get bogged down with like the little requests, right? Somebody who has an issue with their neighbor and then wants me to resolve it, stuff like that. So I don't really get a chance to look at the larger picture, which is why I was generally out of the office a lot, right? So Monday is one day when I'm actually in the office. I can address whatever issues people have at that particular time. People know to approach me on a Monday now. And I can just overall look at the entire picture and see what can be done.
Rohit, if you had to pick an issue, for example, something that people don't understand about the man and the powers that you have, what is something that people don't understand that you can hear? And let people know, listen, at the end of the day, I'm accessible. I'm happy to help. I want to help. I want to help people. What is something that people don't understand about your office?
Which is exactly what I explained. The extent of the powers that we have. This tenure that I have, right? It's the first time where the state government, the central government, and the corporation have all been a single party. Otherwise, it's always been like either BJP's state government and a Congress panel or whatever it is that creates conflict. This is, I think, the accessibility is both it's a benefit and it's a problem at the same time also. But the only misconception is basically the extent of my powers. It's just that now because, my dad is a cabinet minister also, right? So it's easier for us to get work done. So a lot of people, just because now I have a reputation of basically getting things done quickly, people tend to approach me now for absolutely everything. I mean, I don't really mind if you need help. Obviously, we have just like, but like say if you have an issue, I'll just give you an example. Like say in the river navigation department, that is not my job. I mean, like I'm doing it because I am in a capacity to help you, but that technically is not my job. Or if you have an issue in like say the public works department, again is not really like people come to us. I need help with like say my water NOC or I need help with a electricity NOC. That is not my job. Technically, right? We issue your permission for an NOC and then you apply to the department.
They have to go to specific department.
Yeah, but then it's very convenient just to call me and then I call somebody and that person says, Baba, no issue with that. We get it done. So it's just an easier.
Most unusual. I'm sure you get 100 calls, 1,000 WhatsApp messages. What is the most unusual complaint that somebody's called and said, listen, Mayor's office, Mr. Monserrate, please help me? Or the smallest issue. I'll give you options. Have you ever resolved something in 5 minutes that had frustrated residents for years? Communication, whatever the case may be, you stepped in and got it resolved in no time.
Yeah, like there's a lady who lives in my ward. Her son is handicapped, right? He's in a wheelchair. She wanted her husband's birth certificate from a particular department. I think from it was the sub-registrar's office. She's been trying for 4 years. I got it done in like 3 days. So it's not. See, you can get anything done, basically. It's just the amount of effort that you want to put into the thing. So sometimes, like, if you have, like, a bad day, your bandwidth is generally, like, it's short, right? You don't really have the energy. But the thing is that it's like, you have to do it, right? You don't really have a choice.
You start at 6 in the morning. You go on till 8:30 at night.
Yeah.
It's a long day and people also have to respect that. People have to understand, listen, you're human. You need a break. There's only so much you can do, right?
Yeah.
So you're constantly being put in a position, you didn't help.
No, that's fine also. Like, the only thing that actually annoys me in a day is if I get a request at 11 in the night. And they're like, dude, I forgot to message you. So, I could have messaged you at 3 in the afternoon, but I chose to message you at 11 in the night. That annoys me. Besides that, everything is fine.
You're not a magician. There's only so much you can do. I want to get more into the city of Panjim. Yeah, we talk about the changes and the smart city and stuff like that. What do you imagine Panjim in 2035? Now, let me preface this. Yeah, you're the only mayor. Correct me if I'm wrong. You're the only mayor who's done a 5-year stint non-stop.
Yeah.
You're going to be doing probably sixth year, right? So the fact of the matter remains, obviously you're doing something right if people want to keep you in power.
Yes.
What do you envision as this we've heard so much about the smart city project, right? What is something future-wise, if you look at Panjim in 2035, what do you envision?
I picture a thriving community actually. Like say for example, the infrastructure part is the least interesting part of my job. In the sense, like if you look at it, I'll give you a basic example, right? So Panjim won the Swachh Selection Awards, right? It basically see we have these BJP groups, and I remember our ranking dropped from I think it was 100 to around 230. But that's because they added like a bunch of municipalities.
What ranking?
The Swachh Selection. It's like the cleanest city in Leicester. Yeah. So our ranking dropped from let's say 150 to 250. And I remember there's a lady in the group who messaged me, I don't think he's capable. That next year, we won the national award. The year after that, we won the first place in the right? So it depends on what I really want to do and what I want to get out of the thing. See the problem. I don't know how other politicians view it, right? I view myself first of all as a citizen of the city. Right? It's like now if I'm a citizen, what do I expect from my leader? It's basically simple, right? If I've traveled all over, I've seen how government functions, right? And we've seen the best government functions. If you look at Tokyo is amazing. But it's mind-blowing, one, because of governance, and two, because of its people. The people are so attuned with their culture. It's insane, right? They have pride in absolutely anything. Panjim was like that at one point. I think in 2000, I think the early 2000s, Panjim used to have these open waste bins, right? Where everyone would just throw all their garbage. It was a people's initiative that started door-to-door segregation, right? That happened because the people got together and decided, like, I want to change in Panjim and this is what we're going to do. And the government responded, right? So I don't think Sanjeet was there at the time. Sanjeet got together with a bunch of people and they implemented it. The thing is, the future of this city lies with its people. If the people are, which is why I meet so many people or I want to meet so many people there. If you have a disinterested populace, nothing will happen. Doesn't matter what a leader does, it's not going to work, right? So my future for 2035 is a community that's resilient. It's a community that takes care of each other. It's a community that loves each other, respects each other, and just wants more for that. That's what my thing is.
But that's a great wish. That's a great thing to want or wish to happen or you want to see in the future, right? You mentioned Japan in the World Cup, whenever Japan plays.
They clean up the stadium.
They clean up the stadium.
Yeah.
So it's not the mayor's job to educate the people, but why do Japanese people have that in them to stay after and they keep their schools clean? Kids are taught at a young age, right? So that's part of the education process. At the end of the day, you can do whatever initiatives you want. And you keep mentioning you want to bring the community together, right? Until you have that sense of that pride in my Panjim, in my Goa, let's take care of it. Start wherever. That is not going to change any initiatives you have unless the people want to get it.
It takes one person, right? Like say for example, one of my social media guys told me the same thing. He's like, see, Rooney, it takes, 500, 300 people clean the city. But it takes one guy who doesn't care to basically throw a plastic bottle and the entire street looks dirty. That's the...
That's a screw up because you can't change people's mind. And we keep talking about on the show, we do the show every Sunday, talk about the education factor from a young age, just like in Japan, a lot of these other countries where kids are taught from a young age. Listen, guys, put garbage in its place, save the environment, save electricity, this kind of stuff.
But even if you talk about Japan, let's say Japan in the 1960s was not the Japan it is today. Their rivers were overflowing with toxic waste. I read the entire thing. It's only in the 70s that they woke up and decided as a country, this is what we're going to do, right? It's not like it can't be done. It just takes a lot of time, a lot of course, when it's in the right people.
But they've done it, right?
They've done it, yeah.
What is stopping us from doing this? Right? Great initiatives. Yeah, I've mentioned some of these earlier, cleaner cities. So, by the way, why don't we have, for example, you always mentioned something else I was reading about you, is you want to use this as an example. You want to use it as a petri dish and try initiative and do different new things, incorporate new ideas, youth, whatever the case may be. Why don't you see more receptacles, garbage receptacles? People start in Panjim, but all over Goa. People complain about fly tipping and littering. I know it's a headache because you've got garbage receptacles ever, but if people had a place to throw their garbage, you'd keep Panjim as a clean city even cleaner, right?
Oh, that's not really the issue that we don't have garbage bins for a particular reason, actually. Now, if you look at our waste collection system, right, it's designed as a solid waste collection and a wet waste, right? We have 4 fractions. Plus medical waste, plus diapers and stuff like that, right?
But this is for the residential and commercial.
Yeah. So even in the city, for example, right? Now, if I keep a dustbin, now Japan has the same issue also now recently. We have a lot of people who aren't really educated on our systems. The locals are educated, the people who live here. Somebody who lives in a part of Goa that doesn't have segregated waste, right? Their habit is basically to throw food in mixed with plastic. The problem, it starts affecting our back end because then we have to basically, I have to have people sit down, sort through the things, segregate everything again, then do it at the plant. So this little convenience that you offer people will disrupt my back end. So that is a problem. So Panjim has built its name on having an efficient back end system. So it's education that makes a difference. Because if you look at people, people will just dump garbage wherever it's convenient. Say for example, we have this new scheme that's come up where basically they're setting up these machines and all these plastic, all these glass bottles will have a QR code, so you deposit the thing, right? So the idea is to create an incentive for people to return them. Yes. But otherwise, if you look at it, a lot of like we generate the garbage in Panjim is increasing. What we generate about 60 tons of waste a day or something. It's quite a lot, right? Panjim is extremely, our system is the best. We're self-sufficient to a large extent. We started treating our own waste. But the problem is it starts affecting the back end, so it becomes a huge problem for us.
We can talk about this. This is a topic that we can talk about for a long time because everybody claims Panjim is filthy, but Panjim has actually cleaned up a lot over the years. And like you said, Japan didn't do it overnight.
Yes.
But you need leaders, you need technology, you need to implement technologies or processes where people can follow and have options and opportunities to put garbage in specific. Listen, all around the world, they've come up with solutions how to do it. Segregation, recycling, like you mentioned, where people actually get paid. When money's involved, everybody is much more careful. In a lot of countries, they have these receptacles where you can put money, put the collected recycled plastics, glass, and you get something out. These are technologies that in time obviously can be implemented. I want to ask you, as a young mayor, how old are you, by the way?
38.
You're 38. Wow. As a young mayor, do you embrace technology?
Yeah, let me give you an example also. I've just recently registered to be part of this organization called TIE, right? It's a US and Indo startup kind of thing. So I was at one of their events. So it's basically this whole setup where you have a bunch of startups, right? You have 25 Goan startups and then pitch to a bunch of investors, right? So it's a mentor-mentee kind of thing. I actually met this one girl who's into AI and I had her in the office the other day and I asked her, so she basically, what we're planning on using them for now, see, basically, people just want to do things. It's a whole character in this tip approach, right? So now it doesn't matter how nice you are to some people, they're just not going to do anything unless you find them. So what I'm hoping to do is actually start deploying cameras and all and using AI technology to basically track where these people are. So now if say somebody throws a plastic bottle outside your office, through the network of cameras we have, we can basically track you to his point of origin. So we want to start doing stuff like that because we found out that it's just the punitive measures that they respond to. So we're working on stuff like that.
Interesting. Really, really interesting. We talk about technology and how you can change some of these government processes. If you could use technology, which process would you eliminate tomorrow in the government?
My office?
In any government, like people complain all the time about this problem, that problem. In government in general, in Panjim, what is a process that you would eliminate possibly using AI or technology?
I wouldn't limit. See, all the processes that we have are processes that we have for a particular reason, right?
But some of them take too long, right?
Yeah.
A lot of red tape.
That's what I would eliminate inefficiencies in there. That's what I would do exactly. Because a lot of the procedures are there for a valid reason, actually. There are a lot of double checks, a lot of safety. It might seem like a very cumbersome process, but there was probably a point where somebody's tried to basically influence the system unduly, which is why they have so many checks and balances, right? But what I would want is I want complete efficiency in the system. There's no reason for somebody to wait for like, I mean, I'm not saying the CCP is perfect also. The CCP also is to be followed this, right? If somebody has to wait for 2-3 months for a license and everything also, that's the CCP's problem. It's not that poor person's problem. Which is why I want to meet as many people as possible because at least if I can't get to the processes fast enough, I always have somebody who's then like, okay, just give me a call and be like, say, listen, I have this issue, please sort it for me. That's the kind of thing. I would just eliminate inefficiencies.
That's broad. I mean, limiting inefficiency, you'd be here for the next many years. As a younger person who embraces technology, use technology, there are a lot of systems that are archaic. They've been around forever. They've been broken. People have complained about it. There are so many things where technology can be used. Our voting system, our overall, I'm not talking about big picture. These are things that we can start here locally. And again, I come back to the fact that what you're doing here is impressive. Because you are inviting people, you're totally approachable. But you're inviting people to give you suggestions about how to make these changes, right? Yeah. These inefficiencies that you keep mentioning, technology sooner or later will start we're not trying to get rid of, lessen the jobs or get rid of the jobs. We just want to be more efficient.
Hmm.
You're all for that. I mean, technology would
Yeah.
definitely make that change,
Yeah.
right? Any specific departments? And talk about Panjim itself. Any specific, and it's apolitical. It has nothing to do. It's purely using technology to make our system better.
I think if you have like a public accountability system, that would work. Like say, for example, if you have a public dashboard as to why something is taking time, right? So basically, the lack of transparency is what causes a bunch of issues, right? Which is where people tend to thrive. So if you have a system where like I know PWD was working on this thing, where basically if you just, it's not open to the public as of yet. But if you want to find out why a contract has been delayed or why something has not been happened efficiently, we just enter like this file number or whatever it is, and it shows you the entire details of the thing. So I think something technology could be used to create increase accountability in that sense, like just remove that veneer of thing. I think that would be the best. Yeah.
I love the fact that you actually mentioned transparency. That is something that we've been lacking for a really, really long time. You mentioned websites. You talk about these pages and stuff like that. It takes you minutes to order food, but to get any kind of paperwork for that takes you days. It takes you hours. It takes you a long time, right? So these are the inefficiencies, and this is what we're talking about: transparency in what is happening. People want information. They should be able to go onto the website, download these forms, submit your applications, right? We had a sportsman recently who's excelling, a guy named Yash Pate, world-class squash player, local boy from Vasco. And we always promote all these players, ex-Indian player, lives in Uruguay, this, that, and the other. This guy's a local boy. In order for him to get a grant, he was struggling because they filled in the paper, they submitted it. And believe it or not, he had to go through some red tape where he had to go through an MLA to get the grant that he well deserves. Now, he should be focusing on his sport, on his trade, rather than focusing on the health. Because at the end of the day, if he succeeds and he does well, he puts India on the map. World stage, Olympics, whatever the case may be. This is exactly what it's about. Technology, transparency, implement technology into our systems, online, applications, updates, whatever you want to do. We should be moving in that direction, right? 2026.
Yeah.
Is it happening? Can it happen?
If I give you an example of a corporation also, like say, if we have compulsory trade licenses online, right? Just submit your files online. So which is why you need to see, technology in itself is not going to solve everything. I'll give you an example. We had an officer that would basically reject every trade application. Trade. Yeah. So if I want to start a shop or start a business or whatever it is, I have to submit my paperwork. It gets thing online, the procedures followed, and you get your license, right? The thing is that we had somebody who would basically reject every single online application and force them to come to the things. So technology in itself is not going to solve everything. You need to have a system in place that basically double checks, right? So any technology can be spoofed. People are brilliant when it comes to all this stuff, right? If you put anything in place, you'll have a workaround within a month. Guaranteed. In any system that you put. So the thing is that you have to have both officials that care, and you have to have a system that can double check others. That's the...
But having a bottleneck like a person to approve, for example, a trade license, it's very subjective, depends on his mood or whatever the case. You're inviting opportunities to have inefficiencies. Whereas they're doing it all around the world. You apply for a grant, you apply for whatever you apply for. It's transparent. It's on the site. Anybody who needs the help can go there, fill in the form, blah, blah, everything by the books, legal, but it's transparent. Whereas here and you mentioned you're talking about this person who's rejecting this. You would get so much more done. There would be so much more process. Processes would be a lot more efficient to get things done because it's digitized. No, Rohit. Your technology, transparency, all this digitization into the 21st century, basically.
See, but the point is you already are sitting on a huge workforce. The thing is that you can create efficiency fine, but what are you going to do with the people that have already been employed? Once you've been employed by the government, you're basically there for life. You need to find a job for them to do there. So it's not like, see, technology abroad is used to replace a workforce, right? If you look at Singapore and everything, or any of these places, right? They use technology to basically downsize and save cost. You implement technology that will cost you a bunch of money to implement. And in addition to that, you also have staff that you have already hired. So you're not exactly saving the government any money. Right? Technology is meant to either increase efficiency or reduce your cost. The cost factor cannot be done because you're already sitting on workforce that needs to get paid irrespective.
You've got it. That's a you. I'm not. I can't. I'm not even going to go there right now about the government jobs that everybody wants.
sir.
But it's cushy. You go to work every day. But I don't know if you're the kind of boss that goes into or surprise visits to departments, and you go to some of these departments. They're filthy, cobwebs everywhere, reams of paper stacked up everywhere. Right. But this is what I'm talking about. This is the kind of change, and a next generation politician in 2026 would figure out. I mean, it's not easy. Like you mentioned, there's a lot of loose ends, but specifically with AI, we're talking about AI specifically, which municipal jobs could AI improve without replacing? It's upskilling. Basically, you've got all the people there anyway, but why are people sitting around in these departments twiddling their thumbs? Upskill them, learn how to use computers, learn how to file. You've got the labor force, everybody's got two hands. Learn how to use a PC, upload this data, and going forward, let it come directly into the computer system. You've got the funds, you've got the budgets. Why are we seeing reams of papers? Approval processes take weeks, if not months. So the workforce is one thing, upskilling them, train them how to use the technology, computers. Get rid of the paperwork. This is the kind of inefficiency, this is the kind of change. AI is out there, and we are being left behind. So as a boss here in Panjim, as the mayor here in Panjim, these are simple things that can be implemented. AI is out there. Is there any specific department you would use or any specific municipal jobs that you would have replaced with AI? Or are we getting too far, too fast, too far? Or let me ask you another question. Is the biggest challenges the politics, the bureaucracy, or the funding?
It's not it's all of them, I would say.
A little bit more?
It's a little bit of, like, I'll give you an example, okay. We spent, say, prior to us checking everything, we spent maybe around 12 lakhs a month in fuel for all our trucks, for our BD machines, whatever we need fuel for, right? One day I was like, this can't be. We've cut that down to 4 lakhs. Because what we found out is that our drivers were taking barrels of fuel, and in cahoots with the pump guys, they would just fill huge barrels of fuel. So what we've done is basically, it's just basics that you need to do, right? Now, if, like, see, I've run businesses also. So now when I look at something, I know, okay, whatever they're giving me is total crap. So then I will tell my engineers or I'll tell the commissioner, I was like, see, I have this year, I'm not planning on increasing taxes. So for the past 6 years, we've not increased taxes at all. Like, with the first council, that's not died. Otherwise, everybody would increase it by 5% or 10% every year, right? So I said, no, this is not fair. It's like, I pay taxes like everybody else also. And there's no reason for the people to add additional burden to the people, but it's my inefficiencies that are causing the thing, right? So I told them, you cut expenses and you cut costs wherever you can. We saved around 1.5 crore just on fuel bins, right? We've started recovery in a meaningful kind of way, right? We pick up 10 crores the first, 6 crores the first year. Just rough numbers, right? I know them exactly. 7 crores, 8 crores, 9 crores, or whatever it is, right? So the things are, you have to have somebody that basically wants to do something, right? See, the government should run like you would run your own business, right? So if you feel that you're in a position where you could save 10 rupees or whatever, it's a rupee earned, rupee saved is rupee earned, right? Because that money is coming for somebody, right? It's somebody who's worked extremely hard to get to where they are. And they shouldn't have to spend extra money because you can't get your thing in order, right? So I was very clear about certain things. See, when you're talking about, like, see, when I have small issues to deal with, right, I cannot focus on these issues because this needs constant time, constant effort. Because if I'm not there for 7 days or 8 days to look after this, the system goes back to whatever it was, right? Because there's a huge incentive for people to not do their work. So my bandwidth is very limited. So it's getting to a point where I have to pick and choose what I can do and what I can't do.
You've got people like Sanjeet Rodrigues, and he's been around forever.
Yeah.
God bless him.
Yeah.
But these kind of people, I mean, listen, even if you're the president or the prime minister of a country, you can't do everything on IT. So you need good people in place in specific positions that actually care, that want to make the difference, right? At the end of the day, we as lay people, we are paying our taxes, we have to do what we do. We have our own jobs and our own bills to pay. So it has been like this forever when politicians put in power have done status quo, whatever they feel like they can do. You just mentioned about how important it is to actually have somebody who cares. Why don't we have any responsibility, accountability, enforcement? The people that are wasting the money, right? The money can be put to money saved, money earned. The money can be put to better use. Why can't a mayor or any person in power hold his subordinates responsible for their roles and responsibilities? Boss, you're being paid money, good money, you're being paid a salary to do your job. If you can't do your job, I look bad. But if these guys are turning the other cheek and they don't really care about what's going on, this is never going to change, no.
But it's not, see, it's don't get me wrong. I'm not saying people don't care within the government itself. There are a lot of brilliant officers. There are a lot of brilliant people in the government, right? The thing is that a lot of them tend to get. Now, I'll give you an example. Okay, now if I say I have a staff that's not performing to the best of his ability, right? It's the same with any department. I need to basically spend about a year and a half just to keep my record straight. Which means this guy will get chance after chance after chance after chance to keep doing whatever he's doing because he knows for a fact he can approach the court and the court will be like, why is the government hitting on this little guy? And then he gets his job back and then he gets back pay. So it's not that they don't want to do it. The thing is that the government is extremely cumbersome in that sense, right? So the people know exactly how to exploit the system. It's the same thing what you mentioned about littering also. It depends on every like you've gotten a job. How you've gotten a job is like, besides the point. But if now somebody's paying your salary, right? If you're getting paid like 1.5 lakhs a month and you're just not interested, that lies on you also. Because an officer I met an IS officer, he's telling me the same day, he's like, Baba, I don't know what to do. He's like, I cannot fire these people because it takes me 2 years of effort to focus on one guy. And then I have 800 staff in my department. He said, what am I supposed to do? So even they have a limited set of bandwidth also, right? Like an IS officer is not going to worry about how one dude in some far off thing is whether he's doing his job or not, right? He has to look at policy. He has to look at how everything else functions.
Rules, regulations.
Yeah, it's a question of bandwidth actually. Even now, I have to choose what I focus on, what I can't focus on. That's exactly why I have these monthly meetings also, right? Because if I know, for example, for example, the internet wasn't working for 7-8 days, right, in the office. Now that is not my job to look after the internet, right? We have a administration that's supposed to look after
IT department.
Exactly. So now the thing is that they will just leave it be. So then I was like, dude, why did you just tell me? They're like, no, there's an issue with another department. Or at least send out a letter to the press stating that, there's a network issue. It has nothing to do with the corporation. Please bear with us while we get the issue resolved. Yeah, there are a lot of little issues. See, the problem is like every department has been functioning the same way for an extremely long time, right? So to get that to change will take time.
It's like trying to turn a big tanker, big ship around in the ocean. It takes forever.
Yeah.
But this is the whole idea with encouraging, with having people like you, young politicians that have come from families or history or whatever the case may be, and understand how it works. And it is an cumbersome, enormous task to try and change the system. So I'm not backing on any of the system. I'm just talking about how we could potentially use. This is a great way to understand how you could potentially use technology to change these archaic system rules. You mentioned about the somebody losing their job. You take it to court. There's another can of worms. Which is the legal system taking another 10 years in court, right? So people lose that zest. People lose that eagerness to try and make things better because of all these archaic, these old policies that are stopping people from performing, from being efficient. While we're on that topic, what is a department that you think deserves more appreciation other than the mayor's office?
See, people have like a bad opinion of like government departments. In Panjim, I have zero issues with any of them. Actually, all of us are like one phone call away from getting anything done. So I can't speak for the rest of the Goa, right? I'm just talking about Panjim as a thing. We work closely with basically every department. Right? If you talk about the police are always eager to help. If you talk about like EWD, they're also always eager to help. Everybody's just like, you have a bunch of, like, most people I deal with are like, say, young guys, right? Also new guys who've just joined the departments. We have a guy from the water department, Prasad, a brilliant guy. He's young also. You need anything, he's always available. You have the AE from election department, Chetan. If you need him, he's always available. I don't have a bad experience in Panjim per se at all, right? So the things that we make sure that our working relationship is great with everybody in Litfats. We don't really have problems. I'm okay with the way they talk.
But I was giving you an opportunity to give a shout out to one of the departments that's doing a great job or something like that. Listen, there are so many things with the way things are functional right now. We talked about accountability, transparency, and all these good things. You mentioned the police, and this is not a generalization. I don't mean generally, but do you not think when you're talking about a department like the police that they could do a better job? There are things and situations and crime, obviously they've got a tough job on their hands. And I know instances and situations where the people have gone to the police. Nothing ever, and I'm making a generalization, right? Nothing ever gets solved. They tell you to get camera footage, ask this Tom, Dick and Harry. Why aren't the police able to do their job? Here again, inefficiency, red tape, bureaucracy. What causes this?
Panjim police, I have zero issues with. They are extremely good at whatever they do. if you're talking about, like, say, if you're talking about crime in general, right?
Crime in general, the police department, how do we, there has to be responsibility. There have to be people held accountable. You mentioned any company, any corporation that wants to be successful, you want to make money and be a success, you have to have somebody in charge that is making sure that things are being operated like they should. Somebody has to be responsible, hold people accountable. You've got subordinates, you've got people working underneath you. They should be made to do their jobs. They are being paid a salary to do their jobs, right? I am not backing on police, or I'm not saying bad about any police department in general, but I'm saying to you, if you talk about the legal system, your legislative system, you talk about your politicians, the police department that is supposed to be tasked with protecting people, how can they not, or how do we make the system better so that they get a better name? Basically, we're solving crimes rather than the stuff that is going on.
See, any system that you deal with, right? If you're dealing with people involved in a system, the system is only as good as the people in it, right?
Correct.
So if you look at certain police, like say Panjim and all, our PI is brilliant, right? He's extremely good. He's helped me with like these beggar drives that we're doing. He's helped me reach out to the elderly. He's helped me with youth. If ever have an issue, they're always there. Right? He's extremely responsible. It might not be the case in another department because of another police officer, right? So again, they have to be checks and balances follow them. See, the only reason it's getting to this point, right, is that people also are not vocalizing hard enough, I think, right?
Vocalizing?
In the sense,
Because people are scared, right? People are threatened. People are afraid to actually make a noise and point fingers or ask
that is a
questions.
misconception also. Right?
Baba, misconception.
No, not what I mean, not what I mean. Misconception about people feeling that they're helpless. That is not the case at all. You get enough of people together, any government gets scared of you, right? The thing is that a lot of people, right, which is why I keep talking about that sense of community thing, right? If people are scared of their own government, that's not really going to work for the future of any state or whatever.
Absolutely.
So even here, even when, like, say, for example, when we want to create community, I know at a certain point it might work against me also. They might bring up certain issues where I'm not doing a good enough job. It'll backfire for sure. But the thing is that it doesn't really matter to me, right? So the idea is that as long as the city is taken care of and the people are taken care of, if you find a better person to replace me, by all means go for it.
No, but you'll never make everybody happy.
That's true.
Just like a bottle, everybody's got an opinion.
That's
You are never going to make everybody happy. But rather than sit and complain, sit behind there and pass comment or all this BS, get involved, right?
Yeah.
I am saying that has to be, we are talking about things like transparency, accountability. You need to have enforcement, make sure the rules are being followed, but you have to have people in power, making sure that their subordinates, their soldiers, their generals, their whoever's out there overseeing and doing their jobs are doing their jobs. It may be Panjim Police Department, it may be Kalagut, whatever police department, right? Police are there to protect the people, solve crimes. They're not there to be fining and doing all the stuff.
That's exactly what we've done. Like, say, for example, we started this whole community policing thing. Now, the idea is like, say, when I was campaigning, right, if you look at maybe, I'll give you an example of Miramar and Alti.
Yeah.
You have 70% of the population is what, above the age of 60, right? So the senior citizens, right? Some are well-to-do, some are living alone, some aren't, some kids are not here, bunch of things, right? When anything happens in the news, senior citizens tend to panic the most because they're alone, they don't know who to call, and they don't have access. So what we've done is we've taken, why I'm saying I don't really have an issue with the Panjim police, because I've taken the PI to meet everybody. I've taken him to meet, we had a meeting with, let's say, people from YMCA, for example, right? There were 200 elderly. We did like this whole cyber awareness thing. The PI took 2.5 hours out from his day to come and listen to every single request that he had from the MP. The thing is that it again comes to the whole sense of community and responsibility, right? If you're scared to approach the police, go to your MLA or go to your representative and tell him I have this issue. Let him take it up with the thing. The thing is that accountability also comes from top to down, right? Now I'm extremely interested in the safety of everyone in Panjim, right? But if you look at, say, a couple of instances that have happened, there was an instance where some dude got kidnapped and I called the PI. I was like, what's happening? He said, what to tell you, it is his own friend only that kidnapped him. So even when it's framed by the news, it's framed in a very inflammatory kind of way. Most of the issues that you have are not with the locals or anything like that. It's just a migrant population, the issues within them. So see, the police's job is they respond to threats, right? They cannot be all over the place.
And it's a tough job. It's a difficult job.
The depression rates amongst police officers is so high. It is the most, worse than a politician is a police's job. It's the most thankless job. People don't appreciate them for everything. If people want to congratulate them, they're there, but most of the time they don't appreciate anything that is done. So it's a very different...
It is. We can talk about a lot of these problems. There are a lot of problems to talk about. But by the way, I love the fact that you actually pay attention to the seniors. It breaks my heart in Sariga. We've got a couple of these old folks' homes. People have just been dumped. It looks like they've been just dumped in these places. Kids are elsewhere. And it's been taken care of. So I love the fact these are parents, these are our mom and dads that have invested so much time and money and over time to make us the people we are today. And they just so I love the fact that you make a big deal about the senior citizen, making sure they're safe and well taken care of. I want to ask you, we talk about transparency and accountability. Should election manifestos, what I preach, for example, Rohit is standing for election, what I preach, or forget about you, even the CM or any people that are standing for elections, should the manifestos include measurable milestones? That citizens actually, we're talking about technology, why not have these places where you can actually track it online? This is what I promised you. Like a timeline, but to meet my goals. No. Listen, I can promise you the moon. Get me elected, I'm in office, I do my term and I leave.
No, I'll tell you why it might not be possible. So if you talk about measurable time, like say if now, for example, if I plan on, say I want to build a community center, right? I've given myself 2 years to get it done. By the time your file is processed, you're talking about a year and a half. Just basics, just to get that done. The problem is people don't understand the length of bureaucracy. Like even me, like for example, like the reason why I meet a lot of the officers, a lot of the people is because I can track my file. Now, for example, if now say Stella Marie, okay, in Miramar, that area is a low-lying area, it used to flood. I've been tracking this file for the past 3 years. It's getting sanctioned now, right? So it depends on a lot of other factors also. It depends on finance. It depends on if all it takes is one officer to write a negative query, the file comes all the way back. So I've lost 6 to 8 months. So bureaucracy in that sense is the most crippling. It's not like
this is the bureaucracy and red tape we keep talking about.
But you also have a lot of people who also are overburdened, right?
Yeah, but Rohit, we keep coming back to the same thing. How do we change the system? Your broken, outdated, archaic system needs to change because everybody comes back to the same thing. Absolutely, I agree with you, right? People want to make a change, you got to follow all of these rules, laws, regulations, blah, 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 and it takes forever, people give up. So we have people that stand for power, politicians that stand for power, and we do this. The question I'm asking is people need to be held more responsible for the promises, whatever. We interviewed a gentleman in Mapsa, Shashank Nardekar, who's got his plan for what he's done, what he's doing on a little pamphlet. What he's been able to accomplish. He's not trying to promote and do anything more. So a politician can make all the promises in the world to get elected. But even people in departments, there has to be the transparency where
the hiring and the firing process should be something that should be seriously looked at. Actually, if you have, like say for example, in any company, right, you have an audit of your performance, you have an appraisal every single year. If you've not done well, the company fires you, right?
Quarterly earnings.
So that should be done with the government also. I believe that there should be a committee that is set up that seriously looks at every single department and looks at the performance of each and every individual within it. It can be anybody. It can be all the way from an IS officer to a peon or whatever it is, right? Because the problem in the government is that you have a few people that are extremely efficient and they get overburdened because now their bosses realize this dude is good. Let me just dump all my work onto him. So then he gets burnt out. In the meantime, we have a bunch of people who are not doing anything again because the system is so cumbersome. And honestly, anybody in that position, right, is not going to dedicate 8 hours of their day to basically checking each and every guy, going through a file. He also has a lot of work, right? He has deliverables, he has a lot of other stuff. But that system needs to be sent in the sense that it should be like a corporate system. It should be a hire and fire system. If you do well, you stay. If you do badly, you're out. That's basically it.
And the senior people have to be held responsible, have to be kept. Listen, at the end of the day, these people report to you. Like in a company, all the C-suite report to the CEO, right?
Yeah.
So I love the fact you just mentioned that like a company, like any successful company, you've got to report your progress, your earnings and all, right?
So I want to talk about, let me not talk about other departments. We talk about the professional. So I had a sanitary inspector, right? So his job is basically to go around, check and see if the building sewage is leaking, stuff like that, right? He was inefficient, I would say. Okay, it was a chaotic. Doesn't matter what we did, we issued him memos, issued him this. I would yell at my staff would yell at him. It's only now that it would be only VRS because we were pressurizing him so much, right? It's very difficult for us also to get the maximum out. It's not that they're all bad. Like say for example now, when we weren't ranked all that high in the terms of the Swachh selection thing, right? You had a bunch of supervisors who would not show up to work, you had a bunch of workers who would not show up to work. Those same people now are my best staff. It's, the same guys. I've not changed anyone. I've not replaced anybody. The reason why I wake up early is I've told all the staff to wait at 10:30. If I do a random route and find the area dirty, you stay till 12 o'clock. or to however long it takes, because what they think is their time. That's the most valuable to them. So they think that they come to work, leave by 10:30. But if I make you stay till 12:30, you're going to do your job efficiently for the first 2-3 hours, right? So you have to try like stuff like this. You're never going to get anything right.
But that comes from initiative, right? That comes from thinking outside the box, right?
Yeah.
You may be a government employee, you may be the mayor,
Yeah.
but the rest of these guys have to understand they've got a job, they're being paid a salary. We as citizens benefit from the work they do. We are paying their salaries, right?
Yeah.
You shouldn't be afraid to complain. You shouldn't be afraid to ask questions, whatever the case may be, right? And a lot of times in the process, you lose the good people along the way. Because they wanted to make a change, they would try and their superiors would turn a blind eye, sideline this person, whatever the case may be, and you lose these people. Don't even want to get into politics anymore because it's that hard.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you, how should your citizens, how should your people in Panjim measure whether a mayor is successful or has been successful? Measure the success. For example, in Panjim, give me a list of stuff or things that you've been doing that people might not know about.
Panjim used to flood every day. I mean, every monsoon for the past 20 years. It hasn't flooded for the past 3 years. The reason is because there was, I remember this, I can't tell you who the person is.
But this is along the river only. No, the whole of Panjim.
Whole of that. Like, say, before I took office, right, we had around 20 points that would flood, right? You had, next to, what's the place, man? The Advocate, but next to the petrol pump, there's an air flood there. You had Jusa Circle that would flood. You had a bunch of places. So what we did is over the course of years, we hit each and every single point, right? So Jusa Circle used to flood, we broke over the roads, built a parallel drain. 18 June Road used to flood, we broke open all the roads to clear out all these old Portuguese legacy drains, right? And I remember there was somebody who told me, like when I told them, I want to make sure it doesn't flood. I can't tell you who the person is, but that person told me, don't bother, you will never get it done. And I was like, just wait. Like I can't use that word, but I'll be like, dude, I'll get it done. And we did that. We were out from morning to night, like 8 in the morning to 11 in the night. We broke open every road. If a department refused to help us, we'll get it done ourselves. And that day, that year, nothing happened. Like we didn't flood. People, the opposite. I got a call from opposite. Like, dude, what are you doing? He's like, the city has not flooded. We have nothing to say to you. So that is the thing, right? It just depends on what you want to do and how much effort you want to do. I'm not saying there's certain areas that still have waterlogging, which we will resolve, but it's just effort, right? Or people.
It is because you want to make this effort. Because you actually want to make the change, right?
Because that's what I'm saying. I'm not doing it as a mayor. I just happen to be in this position. I'm doing it because this is what I want my city to be, right? So I realize if you pander to the crowd and if you look at people and you expect to get gratitude from people and you're like, oh my God, you've done a good job,
He's pat on the back and all that.
This never happen. Right?
Okay, so now I'm going to get into something a little bit more contentious. If we had a lot of people mention about the casinos. That's not what Goa's about. Goa's been around forever. Goa's got natural beauty, the beaches, historical sites, temples, mosques, churches, blah, blah, blah. We've gone from 1 to 2 to 3 to 7, whatever casinos. People are up in arms. Certain people are up in arms. I've been to the casino. Once in a while, I can't afford to lose any more money. I've stopped going. But as somebody who doesn't mind the casinos around, if the casinos were not here in Goa, where would we be able to generate revenue, for example? If it wasn't from these casinos, why do we need so many casinos? Okay, let's start. Why do we need casinos in Panjim? Is that what our Goa is all about?
It has nothing to do with Goa's about. Say, for example, the casinos, the culture didn't change all of a sudden. Right? I mean, from where it was to where it is now, took a span of 10 years, 12 years, 50 years. Right? The thing is that now Panjim, if you look at it, has nothing to offer a tourist per se. Right? If you come here, you have the church, you have Fundaj. That's about it. There's not much you can do. The thing is that if you don't really, and now see with the casinos also. See, I don't gamble. I hate gambling. These are the worst habit. The problem is also now they generate too much employment for the city in terms of businesses, in terms of employment, revenue. It's become entwined into the thing, right?
But when is enough? How many casinos is enough? At the end of the day, casinos, they're not supposed to be within certain number of meters of all right. We've got loads. And I've been to the Ghana and enjoyed once in a while. The fact of the matter remains there was talk about having another 7-story boat that's going to join the Delta, right? When is enough? When is enough? I'm sure the casinos generate a lot of money in taxes for the city of Panjim. You're talking about employment. So what is the benefit of having more casinos?
It generates revenue for the state, not for the foundation. In the sense that we don't charge the casinos. Maybe
they don't pay the government in Panjim anything. It's going to the state.
If you have an office, they pay us right for the office. So maybe it's like whatever the charge is for that particular office, that's what they pay us. But in terms of they generate hundreds of crores for the state government, state exchequer. We don't get any.
I didn't know that.
No, we don't.
So it is not the city of Panjim that benefits from having more and more casinos in the river. What permissions? Who gives the permissions?
River aviation, home department, those things. We get permissions for the offices that are based on the show.
That.
That's it. You don't really. So when people say, "Oh, I got to do something," what do you ever do? As in, I don't control river aviation. Home ministry is not here. So what?
I didn't know that. I didn't know. It's just
You don't get any of that.
you've got a bunch of these jetties. You've got now. You've
Not
moved
us.
the captain of ports has been moved on. That is not. That is not. Wow. Is this big boat going to come into the river?
There's a high court thing pending. I have no. Depends on the outcome of the case.
I want to get to Goa as my favorite thing. We do the show because this is how we give back. We don't have a whole lot that we can do about the problems of goods, but we always want to balance it up with the good things that are also happening. Let's talk more about Goa as in general overall. What you mentioned about Panjim as a city, by the way, I wanted to mention you all have done, and I'm giving you kudos. I'm not blowing smoke up here. I'm just telling you, I've been here a couple of nights over the last maybe 6 months, and we did a pub crawl, and you've completely changed the nightlife. I don't know if it's you or who's been doing this, but it was like a night and day. They call it regentrification.
Mm.
I only knew of down the road.
Yeah, there's a
You've got
bunch of places.
pubs and restaurants and gastro, whatever establishments, and it's awesome. At night, you've got a balance between having nightlife and disturbing the neighbors and stuff like that. It's a fine balance.
It is.
How do you manage that? Because take nothing away, that is another way to generate revenue, bring more people because of these beautiful places.
But that's the determining factor of any city, right? Like, say, for example, if you don't have like a thriving nightlife, if you don't have a thriving food scene, if you don't have a thriving art scene, there's no reason for people to come into the city, right? So you need to give people. So why you're saying the casinos only is because there's nothing else happening. Now, what I've been trying to do, especially with tying up with a bunch of people also, is try to provide people with an alternative, right? So there was an IOS officer when I just joined who told me this thing. So like Visa or MasterCard, right? They rank every city based on two criteria, right? One is the amount of time that you spend in the city and the amount of money you spend there. Panjim used to, let's say Bangkok is what, 36 million people, average spend of $3,000 to $4,000, right, on average. If you look at Panjim, people used to use Panjim as a hub. They would stay here for 3 days and then use it to travel north and south, right? Panjim now does not offer the kind of entertainment that you would expect. You want to chill, you go to the south, you want nightlife, you go to the north, right? That is what I want to do again, Panjim. That we want to revive all these old communities, get them out, get them doing stuff. So everything we tie up with, it's always like, say, for example, if I want to do something, right, it'll never be like me who's initiating it. I'll find a bunch of people who want to do, like, say, a music scene, right? I find a bunch of boys who want to create a music scene. I'll give them the support, right? And then they do it themselves. So that is, they then think of it as their idea. And that's what I'm saying, right? So it's not about what if I initiate everything. You tie up with a bunch of people who are interested and work what.
That's what this place is missing so much.
But in terms of what we're trying to do is, like, see, Serendipity, I remember in 2019, they refused to come back to Goa. That was the last year they came back. It took me 1 year of begging and pleading just to get it to come back.
Why? What?
Because they didn't get the support that they wanted back then, right? It was very, it's not like the government threw up any roadblocks, it was just that it was apathy, right? So if you get like an art festival like that, you roll out the red carpet, right? You offer them permissions, you give them venues because you know that they'll attract hundreds of thousands of people and the right kind of people into Panjim.
It is even, for example, Kala Academy. You'll have the FE. You'll have all these things that are happening. You've got one of the most beautiful promenades. The river, the lighting, the quaint city. I've been to Europe, Italy, France, all these kind of places. Why is it so hard to make Panjim more like these places that are doing it already? Don't reinvent the wheel. Do what's being successful in these other places, right? Goa's got a beautiful natural ability, right?
Like, I'll give you an example of promenade. You have people who sit there at 11 in the night drinking. They start breaking tiles, they start breaking lights, they start breaking a bunch of stuff. By the time we get an estimate ready to start to get everything fixed, it's going to place another 3-4 months. I'm not saying everybody, there are a lot of people who appreciate the thing. There are a lot of people who actually don't. It's a very irritating thing for us also, right? Because we spend so much time and so much effort getting these things done. And it's the same thing with the garbage thing also, right? It's a very different kind of approach, right? See, it's the people that add value to the city itself, right? So a person that's very, I would say, that takes care of a city is one that will never let anything happen to the city. Like Indore, for example, is clean aside from the municipality is because the people make sure that nothing happens to the city. They sweep the shops out, the streets outside the thing. They make sure other people don't litter. You have a whole system in place. That took time also. So why I stress community is because you can build as much as you want. You can give people as much as you want. But if you don't have that sense of community and sense of belonging, nothing you do will ever work.
You have places, I don't know if you've heard of it, obviously you know Meghalaya, but it's like it's unbelievable how proud they are of it's like another like being in Japan kind of thing. Clean, sweep the streets, they take their communities, garbage, whatever, all this, and they take pride in it. And you can't with this. It's so sad because you can't do it in a beautiful place like Panjim and God. It's depressing. It's hard, but this is why I ask these questions about the change and how you use implement technology, cameras, tracking AI, all this kind of stuff in time will definitely make a difference, right? If you have cameras like a cosmopolitan city like London, you got cameras. People are a lot more afraid to do anything wrong because you get CCTV.
But the idea is just to not have cameras at all and just to have people care about the place. That's the ultimate goal. That's it.
What keeps you up at night about Goa in general overall? You got enough problems in Panjim, but if you think about Goa in general, moving forward, advancement, we've lost that luster. The goose that laid the golden egg, the tourist industry, right?
Yeah.
What is something that we really need to set up and pay attention, take notice? Goa in general, over the years, you've seen,
yeah,
30 odd years old.
A lot, yeah.
It's getting worse, right? Yeah. And I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer or like a panicky thing. We live here, we love this place, you love this place, you actually want to help and make change. A lot of people that are out there that may be watching the show, listening to the show, you feel helpless because you see this going down a slippery slope. Changing, not necessarily for the better. You see the declining tourism. We've got so much to offer, and it really bothers you because people don't realize or people don't understand what you can do individually to help. We leave to the politicians, but it's scary that anything that you think that Goa needs.
I think it's just the accountability thing again. Yeah, that's about
it. What's one decision people criticized initially but later appreciated? Come on, you gotta have one of those.
Can you use this general stuff? I can't really think of anything specific in that sense. I think it's basically people don't expect much in the beginning, right? So it's either incapable of doing his job or is not available or can't do. So it's stuff like that has changed. It's not like so basically you see when I formulate a bunch of stuff that I want to do, right? It's always based on feedback. I say I want to do a bunch of stuff. What changes is not like the what I've done to do, right? It's basically approach. So a lot of people, that's why I want to keep meeting people, right? So different people have different approaches. They have better approaches. I learn from them. So it's always a learning experience for me. So it's not what has changed my mind. It's basically a more efficient way of doing things. So that's basically.
I love that. I think that's brilliant. You're not one of those Mr. Know-alls.
No.
You're willing to listen. You're willing to have people come around. And that's what makes Manohar Parikar is exactly that way.
But that's the best part also, right? There's a lot of people have so much to offer. It's brilliant.
It's frustrating because there's so many things that we see happening here and we want to do something, we want to change, and you turn around and say, oh my God, what is my one little opinion going to let me focus? I just focus on what I'm doing. Okay, we're coming close to the end of the show. I got to ask you a couple of rapid fire questions, yes? Describe in one word Panjim as your city. One word.
Gorgeous.
Gorgeous. Gorgeous. Your favorite Goan food?
Thali. Like a thali.
Thali?
Yeah, it's
really? Yeah, what kind of fish thali?
Yeah.
Hey? Your favorite cafe?
London Fog.
Where is this?
That's in Fandai.
Yeah?
The Santa Masari.
What is your favorite book, by the way?
My favorite book. I have two books that have changed my outlook. There's one called The Dictator's Handbook. It's basically, it teaches you about people's motives. If you read that book, already you like life changer. That's one. And the second one is called The Gentleman in the Balcony. It's written perfectly. It's basically, it tracks the history of the Soviet Union through like the story of this guy who's been imprisoned in a hotel. So he used to be a part of the Tsar's royal family. And then he was imprisoned by the communist regime. So he just tracks the history of the Soviet Union too. It's written so beautifully. Wow. I love both.
Two books?
Yeah.
You're a big fan of trekking and kickboxing or trekking?
Trekking.
One app on your telephone that you cannot live without. WhatsApp?
Yeah.
Morning person or night owl?
Morning.
Beach or forest? I asked you this earlier and you never gave me an answer. If you weren't the mayor, what would you be doing? You mentioned social work, helping people and all. Give me a role.
Work with autistic kids. It's the help. With a lot of parents that need help, right? Especially like I met a bunch of parents who kids are what, 27, 28. And I remember one of the parents telling me, I hope my child dies before me.
What?
Yeah, because there's no post care for them, right? Who's going to take care of them? So that's something I want to solve within the next 4 years.
Whenever you mention that, the first thing that comes to mind is Setu. I'm a huge fan of Dr. Nandu's
She's doing
and
good work.
Setu. She's doing
Very good.
phenomenal work. I love that. One thing that tourists should stop doing.
Thinking that they can do whatever they want in work, just and everything that it takes.
Thinking that they can do whatever they want. Drink, drive, and doing
Yeah.
breaking all the rules.
So that's a story.
Very true. One thing that Goans should appreciate more.
Yes, Dave.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Complete the sentence. Panjim will be successful when.
But it's people want it to be.
Yeah, but that's...
That's right.
I've got to say thank you. You know what? I know he's a big dog. He like I said, people are always going to be second guessing you, pointing fingers, blaming. Rohit, you keep doing what you're doing. I've got to ask you 2 questions. I've got to make 2 statements. If I imagine us inviting you back exactly 5 years from today, what 3 promises would you like the people of Panjim to be able to say that you kept? 3. You obviously had a campaign slogan, I'll do this. People have to remember 5 years from now, what would they say? You know what? That guy, Rohit Monserrate, he did this, and this.
One is, it's not 3 particular things.
Okay.
One is everything that I've ever said that I want to do, right? I want to achieve all of it. I want to get this huge community going for special needs people, right? A very stable community where you can rely on each other. I want everyone to feel safe. I want the elderly to know that, if there's ever any issue, they can always get in touch with us. And there's a system in place for them. Like, I want everyone to feel like, they are not just one among many, but just the only one. Like that kind of thing. I just want everyone to feel special.
Like the old school goer, right?
Yeah.
People actually cared about each other.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But
You
everyone,
actually give a damn about people, your neighbor, you're willing to help
Yeah.
out. No.
that's the main thing, right? If you have that, then it'll solve everything.
When your time in public office eventually comes to an end, what do you hope people will remember? Not about Rohit Monserrate as a politician, but as Rohit Monserrate as a person.
But I was there for them always.
Okay. Listen, just before we wrap up, I want to say thank you because I know how busy you are. You've taken time and let me sit and chat to you. You've been accessible. You've been totally cool about this. I wish you all the success. Keep doing what you're doing. You're already doing it. You're proving it. And we talk about, on this show, we talk about young people, young politicians that can actually make the change. Incorporate technology, AI, all the new things that the young people have. Listen, we are in a broken wheel, a broken system that a lot of our young people just give up hope. You know what? It'll never change. Baba, I don't have time and let me focus on this. I would love the education system here in Goa. Any education, I don't care how rich or poor, the education to start harvesting, mining kids from a young age, to teach them all these things that you've spoken about. How to love your surroundings, your neighbor, take care of your place, the environment, treat this place like you really care about the place. Don't do a job because you have to or you're being paid a salary. Do it because you actually want to feel proud of what you do. You're proud of the work you do. I do appreciate this. I really appreciate it. We're running out of time. This was a little bit rushed, but I want to get you on another show. We'll get you on another show and I've got more questions for you.
Sounds good.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Rohit Monserrate, the Mayor of Panjim.
And Rohit, before we wrap up, I'd just like to leave you with a few thoughts. One of the things we often say on this show is that we're all incredibly fortunate. We've always been blessed in different ways, and every now and then, it's our opportunity to give back, to contribute in whatever way we can, and hopefully leave things a little better than we found them. That's really what the Merv Britto Show is all about. We're not being paid to do this interview. We're not paying anybody or trying to promote any political agenda. We're simply trying to create a platform where people can have honest conversation, share ideas, ask questions, and hopefully help move Goa forward one conversation at a time. Today hasn't been about any politics for the sake of politics. It's been about Panjim. It's been about the public service, and it's been about understanding what it actually takes to lead our capital city. One thing you've spoken about today is our ambition to make Panjim an example, a city that others can look at and say, if it works there, why can't it work here? I think that's a wonderful aspiration because good ideas should never stop at city boundaries. If something works, let's learn from it, improve it, and allow others to benefit from it too. We genuinely appreciate the work that's being done, and we also appreciate your willingness to sit here today, answer questions, explain your vision for Panjim and for Goa. Whether people agree with every decision or not, having open conversations like this is an important part of a healthy democracy. You're a part of a new generation of public leaders, and with that comes both opportunity and responsibility. Like many people across Goa, we all like to see our institutions become more transparent, more efficient, more accountable, and more connected to the people that they serve. Progress doesn't happen overnight, but every positive step in the right direction matters. So we sincerely wish you every success, not just personally, but in everything that genuinely improves the lives of people in Panjim and Goa. Keep working hard, keep listening to people, keep asking difficult questions of yourself and your team. And yes, keep kicking ass. Thank you once again for joining us, Rohit. It's been an absolute pleasure having this candid conversation with you and having you on the Merv Britto Show. Thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this conversation, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who cares about the future of Panjim and Goa. Ladies and gentlemen, the Mayor of Panjim, Mr. Rohit Monserrate. Until next time, take care of yourselves, take care of one another, and we'll see you on another episode of the Merv Britto Show.